Hey guys, welcome to Unit 4, Lesson 3a, which is adding, subtracting, and multiplying polynomials. You're going to notice a lot of the same ideas and concepts that you've already learned in the past when you were adding like quadratics. So if we look at the first problem here, we're going to start out with some addition. When we're adding, we need to find like terms just like we normally would. So if you look in the two sets of parentheses, notice that x to the fourth, and in the second set we have 2x to the fourth. Those are like terms because they have the exact same exponent with the same variable. So all that we do is we add the numbers out front together. So we assume there's a 1, so it's 1 plus 2, which gives us 3x to the fourth. Then we look at the next degree, which would be 2x cubed. Now there's nothing to go with 2x cubed, so we get 2x cubed by itself. But now we have 8 and -9. Since there's a plus sign in between, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. Normally we just distribute whatever this sign is, but since it's a plus, it's not going to change anything. So we're just adding 8 and -9, which gives us -1. So here's our answer right here. Basically, you're just adding whatever it is and then looking for like terms. So same thing for example 2, there's a plus sign in between, so even if we were to distribute that to all the terms, it's not going to change the signs because the plus keeps it the same. So we just look for like terms. What I like to do sometimes is just underline. So 12x to the fifth is the highest, and -2x to the fifth, those are like terms. So that's 12 minus 2, which would give us 10x to the fifth. The next highest term is actually over here, 14x to the fourth, but there's no other x to the fourth terms, so we just keep that one the same. Then we look for x cubed terms. This is the lonely -10x cubed. Then we look for x squareds. There's no x squareds anywhere, so now we go to x's. So we have a -6x and a +10x. -6 plus 10 is plus 4x. And then lastly, we have -4 and 2. -4 plus 2 would give us -2. And this would be our answer. And notice it's in standard form too because we started from highest to lowest, which is how we should write our answers. Okay, now subtraction. When we did subtraction in the last unit, remember we had to distribute this. So that's what we should do before we combine like terms because a negative sign changes the signs for everything on the right. So on the left side, we have this 8x minus 3x to the fourth plus 10x squared. And then we have minus 3x squared minus 11x to the fourth. Finally, plus 7. All those signs switch. So start with the highest degree terms, which would be -3x to the fourth and -11x to the fourth. When we combine those two negatives, we actually get -14x to the fourth, just the coefficients change. Then the next highest degree is the x squared, so we have +10x squared minus 3x squared, which gives us 7x squared. Lastly, we have 8x, which is by itself, so plus 8x, and plus 7. They don't have any like terms to combine with. So we can circle those, and there's our answer. Same thing here with B. I'm actually going to let you guys try B. Just remember that you have to distribute the negative every time. Okay, so go ahead and do that one. That'll be part of your points. Okay, example 4 should look super familiar because we've done these before. So the first one, remember this is the FOIL method. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 5 is 10x. -1 times x is -x. And -1 times 5 is -5. We can always combine the middle terms for these kind of problems, or not always, but for the most part. 2x squared plus 9x minus 5. So that would be the first answer. And now here, for the second part of example 4, we have to distribute. So start with your first term, which is x, and it has to multiply to everything on the right side. So x times 2x squared, when you multiply x with an x squared, we actually get an x cubed. So we get 2x cubed. Then we get plus x times x is x squared. x times negative 5 is minus 5x. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go through and multiply it with the second term. So 1 times 2x squared is 2x squared. 1 times anything is just going to be itself, so we get 2x squared. 1 times x is plus x, and 1 times negative 5 is minus 5. Now what we need to do is combine like terms, because as you're looking through this, you're probably noticing we have some x's and some x squareds that can go together. 2x cubed is all by itself, so we're going to leave that. X squared and 2x squared, those two make 3x squared. Then we have a minus 5x and a plus x, which gives us minus 4x. And then minus 5 is all by itself, so that stays the same. There's our answer there. Okay, we're getting close to the end here. So multiplying 3 binomials. Start by picturing it as though it's only 2 binomials. So let's just start by multiplying the first 2 together. So ignore the x plus 3. Just multiply x times x, which would be x squared. X times negative 1 is minus x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And negative 2 times negative 1 is plus 2. Okay, I'm going to close that off, put that in parentheses. We still have the x plus 3. But before we multiply with the x plus 3, let's actually combine like terms, save ourselves some time. So we get x squared. The middle terms are going to make minus 3x plus 2. And then we have x plus 3. Now that we have it like that, this problem just turns into what we did here. So one thing we can do is probably rearrange the order. It's actually easier to have the binomial first and then the trinomial. You don't have to do it that way, but it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so we got to multiply this out. Start with x times x squared. X cubed, x times negative 3x is minus 3x squared, and x times 2 is 2x. Now we're done with x, we move on to 3. So we get plus 3x squared. 3 times negative 3x is going to be minus 9x, and then we get plus 6. Let's combine our like terms. X cubed stays the same. Minus 3x squared plus 3x squared is actually just going to cancel each other out, so we don't have any x squared terms. You just cross those off if we want. And then 2x and negative 9x makes minus 7x. And then lastly, we have plus 6. And there is our answer on that one. Okay, let's keep going here. All right, this is the last part here. Some of these I'm just going to let you try. So A, that's definitely one that you guys can do. Remember, that's just foiling. B, remember that if it's squared, we can rewrite that as 5a plus 2 times 5a plus 2. I'm going to let you do that one. And then for C and D, now these are two special patterns. I'm going to show you how to write C, and then I'm going to let you try D for yourself. So when you're cubing the same thing, so this is 2m minus 3 cubed. If you look down here, we have the cube of a binomial. This is going to be the bottom situation. So you have to identify what your A and B is first. So for C, the one that I'm going to show you, A is equal to the first term, which is 2m. And then B is equal to the last term, which is the 3. Okay? So if we just follow this pattern, we know that this should equal A to the third power, which is going to be 2m to the third power, because I'm looking at this right here, minus 3 times a squared, so 2m squared, times b, which is 3. Then we have plus 3 times our a single a, which is 2m, and then b squared is going to be 3 squared, minus b cubed, which is 3 cubed. Okay, I didn't leave you much room there for d. You might have to do a little work on the side here, I apologize. So now let's just combine everything that we have. So 2m to the third, Well, if you do that separately, 2 to the third power is 8, and then m to the third power is m cubed. Then over here, we would actually multiply -3 with 2 and 3. -3 times 2 is 6, and -6 times 3 is -18. But then we also have this part here, which is the... Oh, I messed up. That is not -18. Before we can do that, I told you wrong. You got to follow the order of operations. So we need to do the cubed first. So it should be -3. 2 squared is 4, so this should be 4m squared actually. So I was wrong there, I apologize. So let's keep doing that same thing over here. So we know that we would get 3 times 2m times 3 squared is going to be 9. And then 3 cubed is 27. So let me finish this off here. So we get 8m cubed. And then we multiply 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12 times 3 is going to be 36. So we get -36m squared. And then we have 3, 2, and 9. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 9 is 54. So we get 54m. And then the last thing is -24. Okay. Now, we could have done that all by hand. We could have separated 2m minus 3 out into 3 separate parentheses and multiplied it all out. It's just that the pattern, this is a special pattern that we could end up doing it like this instead. So go ahead and try A, B, and D for yourself. A and B are pretty straightforward. D it's a challenge, but notice it's x plus 7 to the third power. So for you, try it using this. This is kind of like your challenge task. Do the best that you can with it. I'm sure we'll review this one in class, but please give it a try.